Welcome back to Simply Comforting. Let us reach up to the wooden shelves of our quiet library tonight and pull a thin, handwritten journal from the lowest shelf. The pages are old and smooth, holding a quiet story about a tiny bakery hidden deep down a cobblestone alleyway. The town outside is completely dark, sleeping under a heavy blanket of midnight fog. The streets are empty, and the air is completely still. But if you walk to the very end of the lane, you can see a soft, amber glow reflecting against the damp stones. It comes from a single cellar window where a massive brick oven has been burning continuously since sunset. Inside this kitchen, a lone baker is working in absolute silence. There is a deep, comforting rhythm to the space. The only sound is the quiet crackle of wood burning inside the heavy stone hearth. On a thick wooden table, a perfectly rounded ball of dough is resting. It has been rising slowly for over 48 hours, developing a light, airy structure that is completely unhurried. The baker does not use modern machines or force the process. Every movement is deliberate, gentle, and calm. With slow, steady hands, the baker begins to shape the dough. They press their fingers into the center, gently pushing the air bubbles outward to create a thick, puffed edge. The crust expands evenly across the wooden peel, forming a perfect, symmetrical circle. Next comes the sauce, made from simple, sweet tomatoes that have been simmering slowly on the edge of the stove. The baker takes a wide ladle and pours a single pool of rich red sauce directly into the center of the dough. With a smooth, spiraling motion, they spread the sauce outward in a perfect, continuous loop, leaving just enough room for the crust to breathe. Now, the suspense begins to build as the final, most important layer is introduced. The baker reaches for a block of fresh, pure mozzarella cheese. It is soft, heavy, and completely white. Instead of grating it into tiny pieces, the baker tears the cheese into thick, uniform slices, placing them evenly across the red sauce like smooth stepping stones. The layout is balanced and precise. The brick oven has reached its perfect, steady temperature, radiating a deep, penetrating heat that is waiting to transform the raw ingredients into something beautiful. The baker slides the wooden peel forward, moving the pizza smoothly off the wood and directly onto the hot, white stone floor of the oven. The iron door closes with a soft, heavy thud, and the silent transformation begins in the dark. Through a small glass window in the oven door, the slow progress of the heat can be traced millimeter by millimeter. The air inside the chamber is thick with the rich, comforting scent of baking bread and melting cheese. The crust responds instantly to the intense heat of the stones. The airy pockets within the dough begin to expand, causing the outer rim to rise up softly, forming a high, pillowy border. Small, dark spots begin to appear on the surface of the dough, a perfect indicator of a flawless, even bake. Inside the circle, the thick slices of mozzarella are beginning to change their state. The solid blocks grow soft and heavy, losing their sharp edges as they absorb the continuous warmth of the brick oven. They melt downward, spreading out across the red tomato sauce like slow rivers of white lava. The oil from the cheese begins to bubble gently, forming tiny, shimmering pools that rise and fall in a steady, hypnotic rhythm. The sauce and the cheese blend together, creating a beautiful marbling of deep red and pure white that moves in a slow, cyclical loop. The baker stands back, watching the process with absolute patience. There is no rush to open the door, no urgency to interrupt the bake. The timing must be exact to capture the perfect moment of balance. The edge of the crust turns a deep, golden brown, holding its shape with unshakable stability. the cheese is now completely fluid, bubbling continuously in the center, completely synchronized with the low hum of the fire. The suspense reaches its peak as the surface begins to brown slightly, creating tiny, caramel-colored blisters across the melted white landscape. The baker takes the long wooden peel and slides it beneath the crust. With a single, smooth pull, the pizza is retrieved from the hot stones, resting perfectly on the wood. The heat radiating from the surface is immense, carrying a comforting, savory aroma that completely fills the silent kitchen. The crust crackles softly as it meets the cooler air of the room, settling down into its final, most delicious state. The lines of the circle are flawless, and the melted cheese forms a smooth, unblemished surface that is waiting to be divided. The baker lifts a heavy metal cutter, aligning it precisely across the center of the hot pie. The metal blade drops down through the golden crust with a clean, sharp crunch. It slices cleanly across the radius, dividing the perfect circle into identical, symmetrical triangles. The hot tomato sauce beneath the cheese releases a tiny ribbon of steam, carrying a rich, comforting fragrance into the air. The melted mozzarella seals the cut for a brief second, clinging to the edges of the metal blade before releasing. The baker sets the cutter down, and the entire kitchen returns to its natural state of absolute stillness. Now, let us look closer as the baker slides their fingers beneath the edge of a single, perfect slice. They begin to lift it slowly away from the rest of the pie. This is the moment of ultimate suspense, where the physical boundaries of the ingredients are tested. As the slice rises up, the melted mozzarella refuses to let go. It stretches across the gap, transforming from a solid pool into thousands of thin, glistening white strings of pure cheese. The strings expand horizontally and vertically, holding the slice and the pie together in a state of flawless, suspended equilibrium. The cheese pull is long, continuous, and incredibly smooth. The white strands capture the golden reflection of the nearby fire, glowing like tiny, warm fibers of light. They do not break or snap violently. They simply grow thinner and lighter as the slice ascends, swaying softly in the air like a delicate web of warmth. The sight is deeply satisfying, a perfect visual representation of comfort and stability. The weight of the melted cheese pulls gently against the golden crust, creating a beautiful, slow-motion curve that holds its balance effortlessly. The strands reach their maximum extension, hanging in the space like a bridge made of pure silk. Every single line is taut, perfectly aligned, and completely synchronized with the slow breathing of the room. The hot sauce glows a rich crimson underneath, peeking through the gaps in the white web. The baker holds the slice perfectly still for a long, unhurried moment, allowing the listener to fully absorb the beauty of the texture. The world outside the kitchen does not exist. There is only this single, perfect moment of culinary symmetry resting on the wooden table. Slowly, the thin strands of cheese begin to cool, losing their fluid motion and gently settling down onto the plate. The slice is completely separated, resting in a state of permanent, peaceful resolution. The baker's work is fully completed, the calculation is satisfied, and the entire kitchen dissolves back into absolute stillness. The heavy iron door of the brick oven remains closed, holding the fading embers of the midnight fire in a safe, warm cradle. You are completely safe within the walls of this quiet space. The day is fully completed. The worries of tomorrow are put away, and there is nothing left for you to do but allow your mind to become as calm as the resting kitchen. Take a deep, gentle breath. Lean back against the cushions and let the quiet, warm rhythm of the evening carry you away into a deep, effortless, and beautiful sleep.